How to start an Airbnb business without owning a house. Yes, that is correct. You can start an Airbnb business without owning any property whatsoever. I'm going to tell you how. Okay, in this video, I'm going to tell you the number one thing you need to do to get started today to do this. I'm going to outline 4 simple steps for you to follow. Almost anyone can do it. It's pretty simple. And then I'm going to share with you my secret way to find properties for free. The key to starting an Airbnb business without owning any houses is to start a business, okay? So this is all going to come down to you actually having a business. So the first thing that you want to do is go ahead and create the business. What is your business's name? You want to go ahead and name your business. You want to go ahead and get a business license, like go ahead and get the LLC or get the S Corp or the C Corp. You want to get an EIN number. You want to get a phone number. You want to get an email. You want to have an actual business, okay? And it doesn't take very long to set these things up, but it's super important for you to do them, okay? If you can get these things done quickly, then you can get started really quickly with the next part. I have students that have been able to get this accomplished in less than a week. Some of my students have been able to do this in a matter of hours, okay? This doesn't take very long, depending on what state you live in, to get your business registered and then do those other things that I said. However, it is super important because one of the things that you must be is a business. If you're saying, I want to start a business, then start the business. No, you do not have to own any of the properties. No, you do not have to own any houses to start, but you do need an actual business. And I'm going to tell you why. But before I get into what you're going to do with your business and how you're going to sell it to other people, let me first tell you, you should go to Airbnb first, okay? So once you've decided this is what you want to do, you named your business and you've done a few of those things, go ahead and do some research. Go to Airbnb and start looking around. Start looking at some of the properties. See what we have going on. You know, there's lots of hosts like Noel that have beautiful properties and we furnish them a certain way. We've taken our pictures a certain way. We price our properties a certain way, the whole 9, okay? And it's actually pretty easy. Of course, Airbnb was set up for regular people to be able to put their properties on their site and start making money. So look and see what other people are doing. Go onto the site for free and search stays, okay? Airbnb has things called stays, which are you staying the night at someone's house. Those are like, you know, nightly bookings. And then they have experiences, okay, where you can take a guest and you can take them on a trail or you can teach them something or you can do a cooking class or whatever. But you don't want to necessarily get into the Airbnb experiences because those are different than the Airbnb properties, okay? So again, when you go in and you're doing your research, go in and look at some stays, look at entire places, go look at apartments, go look at shared rooms. There's different options. Airbnb as a company was founded by a couple of young guys who started with air mattresses, okay? So again, you don't have to own the entire property. You don't even have to put the entire property on Airbnb. In fact, some people just rent rooms, almost like a hotel. So say, for example, you had a big house that had 4 or 5 rooms. On Airbnb, all 4 rooms could be put on Airbnb. So again, I'm not going to go into everything on Airbnb. I have tons of videos in this playlist for you. I have a full course here for you. So go ahead and make sure you watch some of those videos, but go ahead and also go to the Airbnb site and do the research. So now what we're going to do is take what I told you in step 1, okay? Why you did all of that stuff, why you went and got a phone number and an email and all this other stuff is because you want to be credible. Okay. Now, the great thing about Airbnb is they market to millions of people. In fact, Airbnb, even in the lowest economic downturns, have had more people on their website than most websites put together. Okay. People are searching on Airbnb and its popularity is growing and growing. So the thing about it is there are more people looking on Airbnb, meaning millions and millions of people just out there who have the opportunity to see your property. But you need to be credible. So let's talk about this next step and how you get people to say yes to you so that you can use their properties to put them on Airbnb, because this is the key. The next thing that you want to do, now that you have the business set up, you know exactly how you're going to start doing your Airbnb business and what your properties are going to look like because you already went on Airbnb's site, you're going to find people with property problems, okay? You're going to go on websites, free websites like Zillow and Craigslist and Redfin and Trulia and HotPads, and I could just keep going on and on and on. Actually, I'll give you some help a little bit later because I don't want this video to be too long. But there's a ton of free websites where people have literally raised their hand and said they are looking for people to rent their properties. Now, they've raised their hand, they have a property available. You literally could rent the property from them and then put it on Airbnb. Or you can contact that landlord and let them know that you have a business where you can provide this service, where you can put the property on Airbnb and you will split the revenue with them, okay? So this is a really tricky thing that is really simple when we're getting a ton of people that are interested in it. Because instead of renting their property out to a regular tenant and making $1,000 or $1,200 a month or whatever their ad says, I'm able to give them that plus the money that I'm making on Airbnb. And in many cases, they get a revenue share, you know? That is something that you can do. You can split the revenue with them. So on average, an Airbnb property similar to this one that we're in makes about $1,000 to $1,500 per month. In fact, actually, I have ones that make even more than that. But I want to give you the typical thing. I don't want to give you Noelle's, years of experience and all the awesome things that I do. I want to just give you the average of what a normal person is doing. And a one-bedroom apartment, that you just rent, profit after you've paid the rent, after you've paid the utilities, everything, the profit is about $1,000 to $1,500 per month. That's pretty good. So imagine if you have just 4 or 5 of them and you're making, $1,500 each and you have 3 of them, okay? This is a low number. You got 3. You have 3 little units. That's $4,500 per month. Now, that's if you kept all of the profits for yourself. Now, what if you split some of the profits with them? So maybe you split some of the rent, the revenue that you've made with the landlord because they allowed you to put their property on Airbnb. So instead of getting the $1,000, maybe instead of making $4,500, maybe you only made $4,000 because you gave $500 of the revenue to the landlords plus the rent. And those are some of the agreements that you can come up with. And there are a ton of sellers, private owners, landlords, people that had to evict people that have had some crappy tenants. Oh my gosh, I could tell you how many people that we have reaching out to us now. Again, at first you may be calling on Zillow and all these other things, but now they call us asking us if we will do these things for them. So this is a business. There is a big need. There is a lot of people that need to do something with their property and they're looking to make money, and you can help them. The next thing that you need to do once you've got your properties is easy. You furnish them. You furnish them and you stock them. It is not hard to furnish a small apartment or even a house, and you can actually do it very inexpensively, and it does not require a lot of furniture. It does not require that you spend a lot of money. I actually made an entire video on how to furnish your Airbnb. I'm not going to go into this whole big thing here. I'll put a link in the description box for that video and you can watch that whole video, but it's super easy to just furnish the property and put the stuff in it that you need, the towels and the pots and the pans and things like that. Next, you list the property on Airbnb. That's the next step. So you got it furnished, it's ready to go. You're gonna take some pictures and you're gonna put your listing on Airbnb. I give you a free link below for my referral code for Airbnb so you can get set up as a host. Remember, there are 2 types of accounts or 2 different types of ways that you use Airbnb. You can either be a host where you host guests and you make money like we do, or you can be a guest and you can go and you can stay in people's Airbnbs and pay them. Now, I absolutely love the Airbnb model on both sides. I love it as a guest and I love it as a host. But I absolutely love it as a host because we're able to put together some beautiful properties and really provide value to our guests. And the last step is get paid, okay? So once you get your first booking, it is awesome. So the great thing about Airbnb is once the person checks in, so say for example, they're staying for 4 nights and it costs $100 a night. I'll just make up some numbers. So you say your listing is $100 a night, that's $400. The first day that they check in, the next day, that whole amount is in your account. And so this is an easy way to start making money in your business. You can do this sometimes when you have a job, depends on your situation, but this is a very profitable business. And it is one that you can start without owning any houses. In fact, I prefer that you do it without owning houses because you can do things where you can make sure that the property is profitable and making you the most money before you ever decide to buy it, okay? Additionally, there are tons of people, I told you in this video, looking for your help. They already have properties. Why go buy property? There's people that already have them and they're ready and waiting for you. So just go call them. So I've created an entire course that teaches this whole thing, and it is super affordable. Just go to bnbriches.com. That's B like boy, N like Nancy, B like boy, riches, RICHES.com, bnbriches.com. Again, it's a full training on how to do this, how to start from scratch, how to have a six-figure Airbnb business. You don't have to use just Airbnb. There's a ton of other websites. I teach you about that. I teach you exactly how to price your properties. I give you all of my scripts, all of my templates, all of my contracts. It's right there for you. Go ahead and check it out, because this is Noelle, and I want you to be successful to your success.